Welcome to the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary. This is your host, Scotty B. Friends, today we are talking about keeping your day job, keeping that 9-to-5, the myth of quitting the 9-to-5 to go off and have this fantastic fantasy job of becoming a cosplayer, or the career that you always wanted, or you're the influencer now. You've made it. You're rich and famous. Only the fact is that it's really hard to replace income for a 9-to-5 job that has insurance and 401k. It is really hard to do that. You have to make a lot of money. You have to have a lot of followers. And I would say, the numbers aren't quite right, but I think you have to have somewhere in the neighborhood of 300,000 followers, subscribers on YouTube, and well beyond that, 500,000 on Instagram. And you still have to create content every single day in order to get to that six-figure realm that you're looking for, where you can work 40 hours a week at a job and you can get to the same space. And it becomes very much routine, and you do not have to do it on Saturdays and Sundays in most cases, and you do not have to do it well into the night, and you do not have to answer all of the things on your phone constantly. And the fact that not having to have a boss, not having to have, you have yourself as a boss. That's the whole point. Like the romance being an entrepreneur, which is something that I do happen to know a lot about, and we don't get into that very much on the show, but the cosplayers are independent contractors. Cosplayers are themselves business owners in many cases, or they do have a job and they haven't quit it yet because they do just see cosplay as a hobby. But that you are going into a realm which requires you to plan and calculate much more accurately than would your job. And it can be very daunting. And there can be independence for being a sole proprietor, for being a small business, for being a contractor. But it does make you very dependent on your following. It makes you very dependent on your audience, your email list, and any of these things that you have curated as time has gone on with your YouTube channel or anything else. And you have to continue to come up with ideas where at work you have kind of a lot of people who do that. You fit into one very specific thing. Whereas an entrepreneur in cosplay, you have to do all of the things. And it can be very overwhelming, especially if you don't have the capital to build a team. You haven't gotten there yet. You're not making hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars with whatever it is that you decided to do. And because of that, you're not there. You don't have the team. You are the team. So you become very dependent on your following. So it might be better to not quit the 9-to-5 if that's what you've got, because it has a reason for being there, right? Like, it is a source of income, and those source of income, depending on how much you make, can be very hard to replace with an online business or with a contract position. And it's okay to have a job. It's okay to build a career. And it's okay to have a job. It's okay to build a career that isn't cosplay, because cosplay can fit in a space in your life that isn't your job, that isn't your career. And it doesn't have to be full time. Like I just talked about last week, you can do less, and that can work better for you. If it's not your full-time thing, that's okay. You don't have to turn this into a business. You don't have to be an influencer. You can just post things online. You can just enjoy going to the convention. You don't have to enjoy going to the convention because you are an influencer, because you know everybody at the genre and you're on all of the panels. Like, you don't have to do that. Some people want to do that. Some people really look at cosplay as their passion, and they understand what goes into it, and they know how to do all of the things, and they've been doing it for a long time, and here we are. That's what gets you there. But for people like me, I'm not that good at it. I'm not much of a seamstress. I'm not very good with foam armor, and I don't have the time, energy, and resources to put in hours and hours and hours to continue to figure that out. I put more time into what I do here with the show and what I record and what I send out into the interwebs and all those good things. So there's the content that I produce, but I do very much have a day job, and I do very much have to make sure that I have all of the space that I need in order to do that, because that's the livelihood. That's what makes all of this possible. Without that, the 15 people that watch every episode doesn't really get me anywhere. It's not monetization. It's a hobby. But it becomes a job depending on how you treat it. And, what are the consequences? What are the consequences of not ditching your 9 to 5 and not just becoming a cosplayer full time? You can do both. I mean, you can do both indefinitely if you want to, because one thing doesn't have to take up that much space in your life. And, you can decide when one thing does replace your income. When you've doubled your income, you can say, well, I've doubled my income. That's great. I think I'll just keep doing this. Or you can say, well, I think I can push this little cosplay thing a little bit harder. If I just spent all of my time on it instead of just part-time, I might really be able to not just replace the income that I have at my job, but that I can go beyond that I can double it, triple it. I can build a team. I can build a workshop. I can have a production studio. I can do all of these things, and I can move into a space that I want to be in versus this day job that I don't care for and that has no real future, and then I'm not laddering in, and I don't care to climb up corporate. I don't want to work my way to the middle. All of these things that people get really afraid of. There's always a fear of losing your job. There's always a fear of things not working out, of never getting the raise, not getting the bonus, not making the sale. There's all of that in whatever you do with your own business, because a lot of it's selling, a lot of it's producing, a lot of it's being an influencer. That means reaching out to people. And it can be very daunting. And then you have to have camera skills, which, some of us have, and some of us just get in front of a camera and we'll see what happens. And being a personality, you might be better suited to the old podcast, like myself. I'm not, like, you get what you get with bloodshot eyes because contacts are itchy, and always recording lots of batch content at once, so that you see me for 14 weeks looking exactly the same, when in reality I probably did a lot of these at once. And that's why, if I'm a little under the weather now, well, all of them are going to look like that, right? It's just consistency, and it's what you can get to and what you have time for. Editing takes up a lot of time, and cosplay can. The job takes up a lot of time, so you get to what you can get to. So consequences, stability. There is stability in having a job, but you can create a plan and you can have an exit strategy. You can say, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to scale my cosplay thing, my influencer marketing thing, till it gets to this point where I know that I've got good leverage, and I know that I'm bringing in this much money. I'm getting this much money per post, or I'm getting this much money per reel. Companies are regularly reaching out to me, and I'm spending a lot of my free time with that. So I'm in a good space where I could scale it and I can walk away. So you create an exit strategy, and that can be a very simple document. It can be just in your head, but it does have to be formalized in some way. Just quitting is not always a great idea, and it can be hard to walk back. Things can still fall apart in the other space. I mean, just because things are going great today doesn't mean they will be in a month. So you have to be very careful with that. But this is your journey. It's not someone else's journey. It's not your followers' journey. It's not the troll that continues to bother you's journey. It's not your boss's journey. It's not strangers on the internet. And it does not belong to the cosplay community. This is something that you are doing for yourself, the road you want to go down, or the one that you think you're going down. And that is where we need to be with this. It's all experiential, right? Like, this is something that I wanted to do, and the thing that I came up with way back when in 2019. And I said, why not? Why not cosplay? Why not a podcast? Why not create videos? Why not get into this space? Because you watched other people do it. You watched them blow up their channels to hundreds of thousands of viewers from a very small amount. I mean, there were people who had less than 10,000 followers when I started following them. I thought that was great. I see them now with 500,000 followers, with 1 million followers on YouTube, and go, wow. Because I listen to them talk and I listen to myself talk, and I go, man, did I come a long way? They came a long way. And why not? Why not me? Why not? Because I think we've all grown over time. Like you really do. And when you get in front of a camera and you start getting into this space, it does become fun. It does become something that goes, yeah, you know, this is something that I really enjoyed doing. And it is very different from my day job, where I don't interact with anyone for any reason, really, except to send correspondence or take care of tasks, right? Like there's a lot of planning and there's a lot of budgeting and there's a lot of like thought, a lot of ideation that goes into what I do all day at work. There is no direct contact necessarily, other than the occasional meeting. And there certainly is no content like this. The content is very structured, it's very rigid, and it has to be done a very certain way. There is no creative control over that whatsoever, because you can only send out what you send out for corporate. So if you're not in that space and you do something else for your work, then it can be very easy. Maybe you really don't like it very much at all, and it just doesn't serve you, and you're not passionate about it, but you do have these other things that you do inside of media and you really enjoy it. So why not? Why not? You've seen other people do it. Is there anything really that special except their work ethic and possibly connections? You can build all of that as well. It just depends on what you want to do, where your comfort zone is. And yeah, I guess I will end with that, even though it has nothing to do with this episode at all. But people do talk about getting outside of a comfort zone. But the joke about getting outside of a comfort zone is that when you get outside of a comfort zone and you get comfortable with where you are outside of your comfort zone, guess where you are again? You're in your comfort zone. I don't know. I just always thought it's a weird, like, you need to get out of your comfort zone. No, you just need to figure out which skills you want to build and build them. And then you'll be in a different comfort zone, but you'll be doing what you want. That is where I'm going to end it today, folks. Thanks again for watching and subscribing and commenting and liking and all of the things that may or may not affect the video reach at all. This is Scotty B with the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary saying bye-bye, everybody.